All right. Now, the key things for me is, because the rest of the things are well defined, I don't need to be concerned about much of them. Waking up in the morning at 5 o'clock and sleeping at 10:30. My question to the client is, what would help you understand it's 5 o'clock in the morning? How would you know that it's 5 o'clock so that you can wake up? Now, in most cases, the client over here will tell you alarm. Right? So this is straightforward. Any questions on this? Ask the client at 10:30 in the night, how would you know it's time for you to sleep? How would you know it's 10:30? Because in today's world and scenario, the key challenge that most people face is, हमको सोना होता है 10:30 बजे, लेकिन 12:30 कब बज जाती है पता ही नहीं चलता. So one of the things that I'll ask the client to do is put an alarm for 10:30 in the night. For those of you who have not spoken to me about sleep earlier, this may sound funny that you're putting an alarm to sleep, but it's highly, highly effective. Just tell the client the alarm to sleep should have a different music tone than the one that they want for waking up. Why are we having two different tones for waking up and sleeping for alarm?
It's how our brain sort of gets conditioned to that sound, that noise, that when you hear that alarm, that tone that wakes you up, then it's only personalized for your brain, for its conditioning to know that this is that sound that will let me sleep. And then the other sound is conditioned to make you fall asleep, and the other one to help you get up.
Perfect. So you're literally conditioning your mind, right? And conditioning is a very powerful tool. Because initially you may give clients certain interventions, which we will. But you don't want the client to continuously be dependent on those interventions. You want that there needs to come a point where when it's time for them to sleep, they just feel sleepy and they sleep. Right? And therefore that conditioning bit is important. Is this clear till here? Yes. Now, till here, what we have done is we have taken care of the environmental factors. We have helped them redefine what their lifestyle should be. We have helped them create a very specific trigger for waking up and for sleeping. A lot of people after this will tell you, I think I can take care of this by myself. And your sessions will come to an end over here itself. If they do, good for them, good for you. Now, there is a possibility where a client could say कि नहीं 10:30 बजे alarm बजता है, I go to the bed as well, पर बिस्तर पे जाने के बाद नींद नहीं आती. Right? Now what do we do?
We do thought restructuring.
So you will do a couple of things. One, when the client says नींद नहीं आती है, once again check conditioning part. Remember, conditioning to sleep is a very powerful tool. How can you help the client condition?
So,
alarm for sleep is one.
That they say that the alarm for sleep rings. I get to know it's time for me to go to sleep. I go to my bed, to my room to sleep, but when I go there, I'm not able to sleep. So maybe the space that they use to fall asleep, even that can be conditioned for solely for falling asleep, used solely for sleeping. So that if they're saying that the problem comes when I hit the bed or when I enter the room, I suddenly am not able to fall asleep. So maybe that place also can be conditioned in a way for only getting sleep.
Perfect. So tell the client you will be using your bed only for sleeping. So if a client, see, there are certain people who have the ability to sleep anywhere, everywhere, whenever they want. What we are going to talk now will not make any sense to them. But there are people who are not able to sleep, and for them the conditioning part becomes very important. One of the major problems that we all are facing is that we use the room in which we sleep or the bed on which we sleep for multi-purposes, and the mind is not really clear whether you want to sleep or not. So make it mandatory for a client who's finding it difficult to sleep that you will only go to your bed when you want to sleep. Now, if you're not sleeping and you want to fidget on your phone, get up from the bed, sit somewhere else, and then fidget on your phone. That's okay. So I am not insisting that once you go to bed, you fall off to sleep. If you're not able to sleep, that's okay. I understand you're not able to sleep. And then you want to do something else to pass your time. But for that, get up from the bed, sit somewhere else, and then do what you want to do. You will come back to bed only again when you want to sleep. If you are living in a city like Bombay, where obviously space is a constraint, you may not have 2 rooms for you to be able to dedicate your bed only for sleeping. Have 2 different pillows. One pillow that you use only for sleeping, and another pillow that you use for every other purpose. Again, this may not help the client fall asleep right now, but this is your long-term resolution, that the client doesn't have to depend on anything else. In future, they are just conditioned that whenever I put my head on this pillow, I fall off to sleep. So this is how you're taking care of both short-term and long-term. But you have to start planning for long-term while you're working for short-term. Is this clear? Okay. Next, when the client says that I'm on bed, I'm not playing, I'm not watching screen, technically I'm yawning, so मेरे को नींद भी आ रही है थोड़ी, ऐसा नहीं कि नींद नहीं आ रही है. But then once I'm on bed, I close my eyes, my mind starts drifting to different places, I'm not able to sleep, which happens with a lot of us. Right? Now, what do you do?
Like they said that there are a lot of thoughts that are going in my mind or whatever. I can't, basically internally, I'm not able to fall asleep, even though I have all the signs that telling me to fall asleep. Maybe we can have them come up with a suggestion or something that when they tell themselves, when they remind themselves about, that will help them fall asleep. Like the opposite of we did when they had to wake up and we tell them to integrate, and then they're able to come center and ground themselves. So if they have a lot of things running in their mind that is preventing them from actually going to sleep, so do the actual opposite of it, the one thing that will help them stay centered and then only focus on the fact that now I can see that I'm yawning, I'm tired, everything is there. Despite these thoughts, this is what I'm supposed to do, that I'm supposed to sleep right now. So have sort of a suggestion for them that will remind them about the fact again that it's time for me to sleep.
So that is one thing that can be done. Though the problem at times will be that the client is now actively trying to sleep, which brings us back to the place where we were earlier, that sleeping is a passive activity. Me trying to actively become passive is a bit of a challenge, right? So alternatively, what you could look at is first understand what is stopping the client from sleeping. What the client is saying is my mind is working, while I'm sleeping, my mind is still active, right? And my mind is running around here and there. It's too scattered. So what you want is the client's mind to, one, focus on something. Second, whatever they are focusing on needs to be really simple, which means they don't have to actively force themselves to focus. And third, whatever they are focusing on needs to help them become passive. Is that clear till here? A good process to follow is...
the example.
I'm giving you the process now. So I was just building up to the process. Now I'm giving you the exact process that we give the client.
Oh, thank you.
Now, classically, someone was saying something, sorry.
I missed it. The network went.
Okay, so I was saying that you want the client to be able to focus on something. The focus needs to be such that it helps the client become that is easy to do, and it helps the client become passive. Right now, classically, people would tell, or therapists will tell client that count or imagine sheep jumping, and you're counting 100 down to 0. Right? Now, partially that's a good idea, but partially. Why is it a good idea? Is because when you're imagining the sheep, your mind is at least focused on something. It's not running scattered here and there. Okay? And when you're counting 100 down to 0, the counting is also happening kind of on an autopilot, because you can really, it's not something where you have to consciously put an effort. The problem with 100 down to 0 is that when you are trying to do that, there will be times in between where your mind will drift off, at least initially till you have not trained your mind. And that would irritate the clients a lot, because they forgot at 75. Now their mind drifted away. Now they don't remember that they forgot at 75. So they have to start from 100 again. The pressure that I have to keep starting from 100 again immensely bothers them. And then that looks like a lot of effort. The alternate is tell the client, when you're on your bed, observe your breath. With every inhale, count 1. And every exhale, count 2.
This is a very effective method, which I had recently given it to a friend, which worked wonders. She just instantly fell asleep.
It's a very powerful tool. Neha, कुछ बोल रहे हैं?
हाँ, मैं पूछ रही थी कैसे? How like inhale is like.
So you tell the client that just before you sleep, while you're on the bed, observe your breath. Right? As you inhale, just count 1 mentally. And as you exhale, count 2. So you're not supposed to so you're not doing anything extra with your breathing. You're not forcing your breath to be deeper. There is nothing else that you're doing. You're simply noticing whatever your breath is. And when you're breathing in, you're counting 1. When you're breathing out, you're counting 2. Now, the reason for this is imagining a sheep still requires you to have the ability to visually imagine something, which is kind of not easy for everyone. A lot of people are not visual. Breath is always with you. Okay. The day you stop breathing, probably we wouldn't have to talk about any of these things. Then sleep becomes irrelevant. You're anyway just sleeping after that. So, as long as the client is alive, they are breathing, observing their breath is not that difficult. They don't have to worry about 100, 250. They're only counting 1, 2, 1, 2. So let's assume after 10 breaths, their mind drifts off into another thought. At some point, they will realize they drifted off. They can bring their awareness back to 1, 2, 1, 2. So they don't have to worry about वापस से 100 से चालू करना पड़ेगा. Right? So it simplifies the entire thing. People will come and tell you, after this, when I slept like a log.
There's also another variant which comes and tells you that they are bored.
Which is actually very powerful, because boredom is one of the best ways of inducing sleep. Right? So this is one intervention that you keep in mind when a client says that my mind is wavering, running around, and therefore I'm not able to sleep. It's simple, it's effective, but it will work once the client or at the right time goes to the bed. So इसके पहले हमने जितनी चीजें की है वो करना जरूरी है ताकि the client reaches the bed at 10:30.
So that means, Nitin, it's as simple as that. When they're inhaling, they're just saying 1 in their mind, and when they're exhaling, they're saying 2.
That's it.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. Right?
Imagine
now,
about the sheep, like just imagine.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Imagine about the sheep, you said.
No, sheep is a separate thing. So we don't depend on sheep now, because not everyone can imagine things and so on. So it's irrelevant. You just observe your breath, inhale 1, exhale 2. That's it. Now, that's one way of doing it. There's an alternate way of doing this, which is to use your imagination. Now, generally, when clients are, their mind is active, the problem is that the mind is running in multiple directions together. And that is what stops them from sleeping. So the alternate intervention is ask the client to imagine themselves on a straight road. So in their imagination, they are walking. There is a straight road in front of them. And on both sides, there are gardens. And tell them, as you walk ahead, just continue exploring whatever comes to your mind in terms of what you will notice on that road and in that garden. So what you're doing is you're helping them restrict their imagination within that particular image of the road and the gardens, which means other things in their life that are happening, probably that are causing stress, that are bothering them, are right now out of their mental space. Your mind can only focus on few things at a time. The advantage of this is that when the client goes off to sleep, because garden and road and all of this generally has a very positive, peaceful connotation for the client, right? So they are already feeling relaxed and peaceful. And when they go off to sleep, this peace kind of carries forward into that. Is that clear? Yes. Now, when a client is able to imagine and focus on one imagination, this is brilliant. If they are not able to, then the 1-2-1-2-1 is better.
Could you also give them an indirect suggestion which says that you're walking on a long, peaceful road with gardens on either side?
Yeah, you can tell them that imagine yourself walking on a long, peaceful road with garden on both sides.
Both sides.
Okay. And this is the imagination that you will use every day before you go off to sleep. This
So
is
you
again,
say as you walk ahead, continue exploring the road and the garden.
and the garden. Just keep observing and noticing the beauty of it and how good it makes you feel. So focus on basically the beauty and how good it is making you feel. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that when you are doing this, the client is again being conditioned that whenever you imagine this imagination will automatically take you into a sleep state. So now you're serving two purposes. You're using the imagination or the 1-2-1-2, both for helping them focus and sleep, and also for creating a condition that in future, whenever you do this, you will sleep quickly. So this actually helps them. It is effective in itself, but over a period of time, when the client uses it, it becomes even more effective and the sleep comes even faster. Is this clear? Yes? Okay. Now, we are going to club a couple of things together when you go down to practice. Okay. There are times when the clients will tell you that there's so much happening in my mind right now that I don't think I can even focus on anything that you're telling me. So you also need to be able to get into the right mental state so that they can at least listen to you and talk to you.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where you will use relaxation in the session with the client. Right? And that's where you will give them the suggestion that as you begin to get relaxed, I want you to observe your breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. As you inhale, count 1. As you exhale, count 1. Every night when the alarm rings, when you know it's time for you to sleep, when you go to the bed, you naturally remember yourself observing your breath, counting 1 and counting 2. So what you've done is, in a way, used a quick hypnotic process to help them experience relaxation. You've also given them a suggestion that when they go off to sleep, they will naturally be able to do this, or they will remember to do this at least.